7 American technology companies. Together, they are worth more than the entire economy of China. As of early May 2026, those 7 firms carried a combined market value of nearly $23 trillion. China's economy, the world's second largest, produced about $19.4 trillion in goods and services in 2025. And China is home to a labor force of roughly 800 million people. 7 companies on one side, 800 million workers on the other. That is where this story begins. Let's make it concrete with a single company. This spring, the chipmaker Nvidia briefly grew larger by market value than Germany, the biggest economy in Europe. As of June 12, 2026, Nvidia was worth about $4.97 trillion. Germany's economy for 2026 is projected at $5.45 trillion. The two are now almost level. A few weeks earlier, in mid-May, Nvidia's value briefly touched more than $5.5 trillion, and, for a moment, it passed Germany entirely. But we have to be careful about what we're comparing. A market cap and a GDP are not the same kind of number. A market cap is a price, the total value of a company's shares at this exact moment, and it can swing by hundreds of billions of dollars in a single week. A GDP is a flow, everything a country produces over a whole year. We put them side by side because the public does, and because the gap really has closed. But keep this in mind for the rest of the film. A snapshot of value is not a year of output. With that caveat in hand, let's line them up on the same axis, companies and countries together. As the bars fill in, something strange happens. The neat boundary between a company and a country starts to blur. Some of the most valuable companies on Earth now sit higher than some of the largest economies on Earth. Watch where they land. Take Apple. As of June 12, 2026, Apple was worth about $4.28 trillion. The United Kingdom's economy for 2026 is projected at $4.26 trillion. By market value, one company edges past the entire yearly output of a nation of nearly 70 million people. Microsoft sits a step below. Its market value, around $2.90 trillion, lands just under France, whose economy is projected at $3.66 trillion. Close enough that a strong year on the stock market could change the order. Now look at Amazon against Canada. As of June 12, 2026, Amazon carried a market value of about $2.57 trillion. Canada's economy for 2026 is projected at $2.51 trillion. So the online retailer, by market price, sits just above the entire yearly output of one of the world's largest advanced economies, a nation of more than 40 million people. But the same company tells the opposite story one country over. Hold Amazon's $2.57 trillion next to Italy. Italy's economy for 2026 is projected at about $2.71 trillion. So Amazon, which edged past Canada, sits just below Italy. One company, 2 neighbors on the same ladder, a little above one nation's yearly output, a little below another's. Like the others, the gap is close enough that a single quarter on the stock market could flip the order. The point is not that one side beats the other. It is that a company and a country have become the same size of number. And here is the cleanest mirror of all. Saudi Aramco, the oil producer, carried a market value of about $1.75 trillion as of June 12, 2026. Saudi Arabia's entire economy for 2026 is projected at $1.27 trillion. By this measure, the company is valued higher than the yearly output of the country it operates in. We're noting that only as a data point, nothing more. Now add them up. Take the 5 most valuable American technology companies: Nvidia, Alphabet, Apple, Microsoft, and Amazon. As of mid-May 2026, their combined market value was about $20.81 trillion. Now take the 5 largest economies in Europe: Germany, the United Kingdom, France, Italy, and Spain. Their combined output comes to about $18.14 trillion. 5 companies, outvaluing 5 nations. Together. Now widen the frame from 5 companies to 7, and from Europe to the world. Stack the Magnificent Seven's combined market value against the largest national economies on Earth. Together, those 7 firms are worth about $23 trillion. That is more than China's entire economy, the world's second largest, at about $19.4 trillion in 2025. It towers over Germany at $5.45 trillion, the United Kingdom at $4.26, France at $3.66, and Italy at $2.71. On a single chart of the biggest economic blocks in the world, a cluster of 7 companies now sits at the very top. How did we get here? Rewind 15 years. At the end of 2010, the most valuable company in America pumped oil, ExxonMobil, worth roughly $364 billion. Today, the company on the throne makes chips. Nvidia stands where Exxon once did. In 15 years, the crown moved from energy to computing, from the oil well to the silicon wafer. And the leap in value over that span is the part most people get wrong. Here's the leap. In 2010, the most valuable American company was worth about $364 billion. Today's leader, Nvidia, is worth about $4.97 trillion. That is more than 13 times as much. Put another way, you could have taken the single most valuable corporation in America 15 years ago and stacked it 13 times over, and you would only just reach where one company stands now. The throne did not only change hands. The throne itself grew more than 13-fold. So who actually holds the top spots today? The leader is Nvidia, the chipmaker, at about $4.97 trillion. But the surprise is second place. It is not Apple. It is Alphabet, the parent of Google, at roughly $4.37 trillion as of June 12, 2026. Apple, the company most people would name first, sits in third at about $4.28 trillion. 3 firms, all within $700 billion of each other, all built on chips, search, and devices. The very top of the corporate world is now a tight cluster of technology names. Watch the leaderboard turn over. At the end of 2010, the top of the list was oil and old line software. Year by year, the names change. Apple climbs, then Microsoft and Amazon, and finally a new generation of chip and cloud companies pushes past everything that came before. By 2026, the top 5 are almost entirely about chips, cloud, and code. Apple shows the shape of that climb in one clean line. At the end of 2010, Apple was worth about $0.29 trillion, under $300 billion. In 2018, it became the first American company to close above $1 trillion. $2 trillion came in 2020, $3 trillion in 2023, and today it stands near $4.28 trillion, roughly 15 times larger than it was 15 years ago. There's one more number that captures the concentration. These leading companies, often called the Magnificent Seven, now make up about 35% of the S&P 500, America's flagship stock index, as of May 2026. 10 years ago, that share was closer to 12%. A larger and larger slice of one index now rides on a smaller and smaller set of names. Zoom out to the whole map. Country by country, ask a simple question. Is any single one of these companies worth more than this nation's entire yearly economy? For Germany, the answer right now is no, barely. But for the United Kingdom, France, Italy, Canada, Brazil, Spain, and dozens more, the answer is yes. Across much of the map, a national economy is now smaller than a single corporation. Step back and hold 3 numbers together. 1. In 15 years, Apple grew roughly 15-fold. 2. The 7 largest technology companies now approach $23 trillion in combined value. 3. Those 7 make up about 35% of America's main stock index. Scale, growth, and concentration, all in the same place at the same time. So what does all of this mean? The numbers describe a world where value has gathered, to an unusual degree, at the very top of the corporate ranks. They show companies whose market price now rivals the yearly output of major nations. They do not, on their own, tell us whether that is a strength or a fragility, only that it is real and that it is large. What it means for the future, the data leaves to you.